Hey, what's going on, guys? It's FPL Yusuf here, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today, I'll be going over my Game Week 32 transfer plans. I'm going to show you guys how we got on in Game Week 31, what my current plans are for this coming game week, but also what my team's looking like for Game Week 32 as well. So I do hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Okay, welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today on my YouTube channel for another video. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump straight into how we got on in Game Week 31 this week. And it was looking like it was going to be a massive red arrow. It didn't start off well. The weekend games really didn't go to plan at all. We had a lot of blanks in them. But Monday evening's games, and Newcastle in particular, was massive for us. So we managed to finish on 50 points overall when the average was 34. So I was really pleased with that. We did take a -4 coming into this week for Jacob Murphy, who did go massive for us. So obviously he was the biggest scorer this week, 16 points. He got a brace. Isaac, a little bit unfortunate that he didn't get anything in that game. When I saw that Newcastle went 2-0 up so early, I was kind of hoping that he might have had a hand in the goals, especially because everyone else is captain. If you had Mo Salah, if you went Marmoush, they all blanked. So I was kind of hoping that Isaac would be the sort of little differential this week. But, we'll take the points where we can get them. Obviously, Murphy being the biggest one, Nick Pope keeping a clean sheet as well, which again was a little bit something that I was umming and ahhing before last week's deadline about should I be making a goalkeeper transfer. But that one did work out for us. Mateta, the only other player getting a return this week with a goal. Other than that, everyone else sort of was just 2s and 3s across the board. Hoyson got himself a little assist at the back to kind of make up for almost lack of clean sheets. I think that's 8 games in a row now they haven't kept a clean sheet. So I am potentially looking at moving some of them out over the next couple of weeks. They just don't seem to be firing how they were maybe sort of like 10, 11 game weeks ago. So yeah, definitely want to keep an eye on. But overall, happy with the score. Like I said, coming into the weekend, it didn't go too well. But obviously that Monday night game, this is why I always like having players in the last match of the game week, because they can turn a game week from looking like a big red arrow to a positive green one. So we're just outside the top million now. I think we're about 1.1 million-ish. So we're close to sort of pushing in there. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this week with the double, we've got 3 Newcastle players set up for it. We can sort of find ourselves back inside that top million. Right, so moving on to my transfers this week, I haven't really got too many that I want to move for at this time of recording. So like I said, I've got 3 Newcastle players in. Obviously, they've got a double this coming game week, so they're fine. Mateta's probably the only Crystal Palace player that I'd want to own. If you have Munoz, fantastic. I just don't like Crystal Palace's fixtures. I think that I don't see them keeping any clean sheets. Obviously, Munoz has got a high chance of an attacking return, but I just think that the 2 games they're playing, if I was going to rely on anyone, it'd probably be Mateta. So I'm actually happy going into the game week with 4 doubles. So there's 2 sort of aims that I'm looking to do this week. Either one's going to be just to roll the transfer and take 2 into double game week 33. Obviously, you've got the likes of Man City doubling, Arsenal doubling. So there's a little bit more emphasis to bring those assets in. The other transfer that I'm looking to make this week is just to bring Bukayo Saka in from now. Now, I'm going to wait and see what happens. Obviously, Arsenal, time when we record this, are playing tonight, being Tuesday against Real Madrid. So we'll have to wait and see if he comes out of that game unscathed to make sure there's no injuries. But I think Saka, I'm not sure whether to do it this week or next week. I do think he will start at the weekend, regardless of what happens in Madrid, because I think, he was rested the previous weekend, probably for this upcoming game. But I do think that once, this game's out of the way, he will be back into the lineup. So obviously Arsenal are playing Brentford this coming game week, which is a nice fixture on paper. They are at home, I believe. So for me, the biggest thing is just trying to move Dango out. Bournemouth, the way they're playing at the moment, I'm not really interested in having any of their assets at all, to be honest with you. So I got rid of Clivert last week. Dango's the only one left. I do want to get rid of him. Hoyson's fine because I'm just rotating him with other defenders, but Dango for me is the one way that I can get to Bukayo Saka. Obviously, Morgan Gibbs-White is another one that I'm considering, but I have enough money in the bank to move kind of any of my midfielders to Bukayo Saka. So I think the transfers this week are pretty much straightforward. It's either going to be I roll it and take 2 into 33, or we make the move from Dango or Gibbs-White to Bukayo Saka. Right, so this is how my team's looking for game week 32. So we have 4 doublers coming to this game week. We'll start off in goal in the defence with Nick Pope. The reason why I brought him in last week was solely, 1, because they had a good fixture against Leicester, but 2, it was for this game week. Obviously, I want to try and take advantage of the double as much as possible, and I felt like owning a Newcastle defender was the right move. So he's going to be my starting goalkeeper. The back 3, we've got Aït-Nouri, who's played against Tottenham. We've got Yuri and Timber, who, like I said in my previous section, I'm going to wait and see what's happening with how Arsenal get on. Obviously, he's just sort of nursing a little bit of an injury at the moment. He did come on in the game against Everton for the last sort of 25 minutes, half an hour, so it was good to see that he got a run out. I do expect him to start in the Champions League game, but there was obviously a couple of days between Champions League and game week 32, so a little bit of time in between that. And the last thing I've got is Milenkovic. I'm happy with the back 3. I think that they're pretty much solid. I've got Hoyson on the bench against Fulham at home, so if one of them isn't available to play, probably more likely to be Timber because of the injury, then I'm more than happy just to bring him in. But yeah, that's the defence and the keeper covered. So onto the midfield. So Mo Salah, of course, is going to be in there, and Burmo, not the greatest fixture against Arsenal, especially if I'm starting Yuri Timber. It's kind of contradictory, but I just think Mbeumo is someone that I have no real need to replace at the moment. Maybe next week when we have a double, I may look to move him out because he obviously is quite expensive. But as the time of recording, I don't really have or see a need to want to sort of rush him out. So he's fine in there. Jacob Murphy, again, another player with a double. I am actually potentially looking at putting him on captaincy now. My aim was to go with him captaincy for the double in this game week because I just want to make a little bit of a differential. Obviously, he's come back with a brace now, so I think a lot more people are going to A, own him, but B, I think some probably will have an outside shout as captaincy. I think it's pretty much 50-50 this week between him and Isak, for me personally, at least anyway. The last midfielder I've got in there is Morgan Gibbs-White, but like I said in my previous section, either him or Dango could potentially move to Bukayo Saka. And if I do make that transfer, then that fourth midfield spot will go to Saka, of course. And finally, the front three, the same as I've had for the last few weeks. Marmoush in there, has got a game against Crystal Palace. Mateta obviously has a double. Not the easiest double, but, you know, Mateta, when you've got someone who's doubling and he's Crystal Palace's main man, I'm more than happy to play him. And then obviously Alexander Isak, again, the final piece to the puzzle. Like I said before, it's a 50-50 captaincy shot between him and Murphy, but I'll probably make that decision closer to the deadline in my final team selection video later on this week. So yeah, that's the current team we're looking at. Like I said, there's only going to be a possible one free transfer this week. Maybe I might just roll it, but if I do make the transfer, then Saka will be that fourth midfielder instead of either Gibbs-White or Dango. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you guys out there who have subscribed. You know, I woke up this morning and we hit the goal of 100 subscribers, which is, you know, to some people might seem like a small milestone, but for me, it was a really big thing, you know, over the last year of just trying to get content out there, trying to improve every video, you know, it's a big thing to see that. So I just want to say a massive thank you to any of you guys who, you know, if you've watched my videos, if you've liked, if you subscribed, just thank you all so much. I will be back tomorrow with an FPL challenge video, and then probably later on either Thursday or Friday this week with a final team selection video. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, I'll catch you guys next time.